Welcome back to episode 2 of the Tabletop Podcast.
Second take.
Yeah, God, yeah. We did just have a pretty big blooper there, didn't we? Feels weird saying welcome back, considering the first time we did it, we took about 6 takes where I kept saying welcome back on the first episode.
Pretty sure the only one we didn't say welcome back on was the one we used.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely day today. It's snowing. I think it's the first snow I've seen in all year.
Well, I've seen snow, but it hasn't landed on the floor. It just sort of melts.
Melts everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
sad.
Yeah, very sad. Very sad. I mean, first off, I think we can start by saying a massive thank you to everyone that listened to episode 1. I think we were expecting very minimal results from the first episode.
About 20.
Yeah, maybe 20 tops. A couple of mates just watching it, and we've been blown away, I think I say, by all the questions and responses we've had back. Yes. Some people were not happy with Kurt's rating on sandwiches and our meal deal choices from last week. Safe to say that, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know really how to say it other than you hated me.
Yeah. What was one? What did people hate you for, Kurt? Ham and cheese sandwich. Picking a ham and cheese sandwich in a meal deal. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Thing is, although I said ham and cheese sandwich, I meant like in a baguette because that's what I get. I don't get it in a sandwich because I don't ever see it in a sandwich. Yeah. But, you know, that was my own fault, I guess. I might as well just...
We'll have to definitely be careful about that in the future, Kurt. People don't like you. Well, going by opinions on your meal deal choices here and people disliking you, I thought a good place to start would be another reason for people to dislike us on our food choices.
We're going to have no viewers.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have no viewers. We put a poll out this week, didn't we, Kurt? Basically asking the age-old question, does pineapple belong on a pizza? Now, I'm just going to put the question out. We've obviously discussed this before, but what do you think, Kurt? Does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Well, I worked at Pizza Hut for quite a while, and I must say, making a Hawaiian pizza is the easiest thing. It's one of the most chilled out times, unless you haven't got any pineapple ready. Then you got to go find a can of pineapples.
A can of pineapples.
Yeah, but I've never had it. Like, I can't say, it's terrible because I've not had it. But I will say I'm not too sure on it.
Yeah, I think I'd say the same thing. Pineapple is one of those things, isn't it? You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it personally.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I'm not gonna turn around and have a go at everyone that likes pineapple on a pizza. They've obviously got their reasons, but personally, absolute no go.
My argument is, if you're gonna have a pineapple on a pizza, put some watermelon. Just.
Now you're pushing it. Although we did have some pretty unusual answers to this question. Let's start off just with the results from our poll. 63% of the people who voted on the poll said pineapple does not belong on a pizza.
How many were there overall?
I think in total there was 35 people voted.
That's more than I was expecting.
Yeah,
I was expecting about
35
12.
people voted. 22 of them thought that pineapple doesn't belong on a pizza, and 13 people said yes.
My question is, how many of the people who said yes were just clicking it just to be like, haha?
Yeah. We did, to be honest, we did have a lot of actual responses because I put a question box on there as well. So people could give us their opinions. They could elaborate on their choices. I think the best way we can do this here, Kurt, is if you play a bit of a devil's advocate role here.
All right. me and the devil are friends. So let's go.
Yep. So, just for this section, I want you to act like you have pineapple on a pizza. Just try and think from their perspective.
Well, they have ham on pizza, and I like ham as much as everyone hates me for liking ham. So
ham and a sandwich. So, I'll go with one of the. I'll read out some of the opinions
All right.
of the yeses, the people who like pineapple on a pizza. So we had most of them were because why not? We had it's peng. We had that it's great, but we did have two people who agreed with each other very much, and they basically just said that tomatoes are a fruit and pineapples are a fruit. So apparently that is enough justification to put it on a pizza.
You wouldn't have apple on a pizza.
Well.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. I mean, yes, they're right.
You're taking the wrong side here. And the other person that said about tomatoes said, if tomatoes are on a pizza, then pineapple is fine, since tomatoes are a fruit. Now, there's lots of fruit that I wouldn't put on a pizza.
Yes, but clearly if it's so popular, which, don't get me wrong, it's not very popular, but it's a majority of people are going to say no.
Yeah.
You know
I get people. I guess there's a bit of a sweet, savoury contrast there. I think I understand.
Well, a lot of
that.
people don't like, just meat feast pizzas.
Yeah.
Which baffles me. So
Well,
I'm like, why not?
I can't comment on this.
I mean,
I can't eat meat
to.
pizzas.
You used to.
Yeah, that's true. Now this really turned the gears a bit here about the pineapple argument.
Right.
Somebody put, it's just pineapple. Fair enough. If it's just pineapple, have it on your pizza. They then decided to put another comment saying, it's like grapes in a fajita. Now, I don't know if I'm just completely uncultured here, but I've never put grapes in a fajita before.
It's hard to play devil's advocate in this situation because grapes in a. Now,
Come on, Kurt, try harder.
All right. Why would
I don't know if this is actually real, and
I'm
you might be able to
Googling it.
Google this for me now. But if anybody actually knows if they put grapes in a fajita, then fair enough. This might be a cultural thing or whatever. I've never put grapes in a fajita, and I don't think I've known anyone who's put grapes in a fajita. So I don't think I'm going to accept that as an opinion against putting pineapple on a pizza. But then again, the arguments for not having it on were very few and far between. We had two people actually comment on the post telling us why pineapple doesn't belong on it. And somebody said, there's no justification, it just doesn't.
So, from what I can see on Google, that's a lie.
Oh.
They're not on fajitas.
Okay.
I think they said that as a joke to try and prank us, and now we
look like fools on our own podcast.
Yes.
I see, yeah, mate. And
Thanks
we've got
a
a
lot.
very valid point, which would be a good one to round off this pineapple argument, is I think probably the only valid reason we got on this poll was for no pineapple on a pizza. And somebody has put wrong texture completely, and Gordon Ramsay himself said pineapple doesn't belong on a pizza.
I know, but I've seen Gordon Ramsay eat some very questionable stuff on shows.
Yes, but
And say it's nice.
we're not professional chefs. Neither, well, as far as I know, none of our listeners are professional chefs.
I've Kirtland's Kitchen.
Kirtland's
so
Kitchen, yep, okay. Well,
I'm gonna have to message Gordon and say I'm not too
sure
on
about that.
big man.
Well, I think do with this information as you will, but I don't think either side had very convincing arguments for which. But I just feel like we're probably going to get a bit of backlash for this
I'm gonna say something.
from the pineapple lovers.
I feel if you're gonna have pineapple on a pizza, fair play, do what you want to do. But when I worked at Pizza Hut, there was a weirder thing that went on pizzas, which was tuna.
Tuna on a pizza. I think did you mention this on the last podcast?
I think I might have.
Tuna on a pizza.
Yeah.
Just no.
I can't remember what it was with, but I just remember one day a pizza coming through. I looked at it and went, "What? What is this?" looked at the menu thing, seeing what was in it, and then I went, okay. And
I'm sorry, who in their right mind?
I know that you can have it on the flatbread as well. I'm pretty sure a tuna on a flatbread is quite common. But
a tuna pizza.
the problem is, yeah, like if you're gonna say the texture's bad on pineapple, do what you want to do. But people like pineapple. It's quite a popular thing. Tuna is already 50-50. Like a lot of people hate tuna naturally. Like when working there, not many people would touch the tuna. They would have to go put on gloves because they just were like, no, not going near it. But it's just a bizarre one.
It is very bizarre. That's taking it a step too far, I think.
So in my opinion, I think if you're having Hawaiian pizzas, good on you.
Yeah. If you like it, then you like it. If you put tuna on your pizza,
yeah, we got problems.
Leave. Get out. All right then. Kurt.
Yes.
I thought the viewers might want to know a bit more about us.
All right.
Well,
I'm
considering
Kurt.
they already know as much as what we have in a meal deal and whether we like pineapple on a pizza, they probably already know quite a lot about us. Yeah, I don't think they want to know anymore. But I thought maybe we could tell a couple stories, maybe something that's happened between us. We've known each other for quite a while now. Are there any interesting stories you can think? I've got one that comes to head. I think you're probably thinking the same thing here.
Probably.
I can see it on your head, actually. That big scar you've got going across your eyebrow. That's probably a good place to start, isn't it? Where does that story start, Kirtland?
I don't remember why we had a sesh party, whatever you want to call it, in the first place.
We were young and it was a Friday night, so we didn't need a reason. I guess we didn't need one.
I'm pretty sure. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. What it was we were supposed to do something the weekend before, but you were busy. Yeah. So I said to everyone, I went, it's all good. We'll just do it next week.
Yeah.
But the problem with doing it the week after was that, it gave a week of people to go, let's get more people.
Yeah, and we did end up with quite a large...
Once it's planned, you can't say no to other people because... when it's a spur of the moment, we can have a couple of mates over, have a few drinks, and you get messages of people saying, can I come round? You can still say no. You go, I wasn't expecting people around. I'm not ready for people around, blah, 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 blah. But when you've planned it and you're in school and you're talking
everybody
about
knows,
and
the word gets
knows.
around. I think the planning that went behind it was pretty awful from our side, actually. We ended up with quite a few people, and unfortunately, it did fall on the weekend where we had a quite important Essex Cup semi-final rugby match the morning after this party. Obviously, we decided to still go ahead.
Problem was, I remember only getting about 2 hours sleep, like 2-3 at push. So that means no one else got more or less. Oh, I think there was a few people who probably had a bit more sleep, but nobody had less.
Yeah, we're all hungover.
So we're all on about. We all slept, but we didn't sleep for long enough to get ready.
Not.
I wouldn't say we were hungover. I'd say we were drunk.
Still drunk, yeah, that would be a good.
Because I remember waking up, going, we've got half an hour till we have to be at our school.
Yeah.
Obviously, I live quite close.
Yeah.
So it weren't terrible.
There was 4 of us, wasn't there? There was 4 of us. Me, you, Sam, and Zach. I think
there was more.
There must have been. Anyway, we found ourselves big party on a Friday night. Essex Cup semi-final away at who was it? Robert Clack. We had Robert Clack away in the semi-final. Now they're a very good side. We'd lost to him earlier in the season.
We were already missing.
Yeah, we had loads of injuries and all sorts.
But I think the reason I think we weren't, or the reason I knew we weren't going to win was they were a better team than us with our full squad. But when we were walking to the school, the fact that we were we
made a chant, didn't we? I don't know how appropriate the chant would be to say on the podcast.
We won't say
the chant,
no.
but we did make a chant about our friend Sam. And
I think we probably would have left about from the school at 8, so we probably would have left mine about 7:15.
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah, so we all walked in as a group, didn't we? Chanting all the way into school.
I just remember sitting down in the pack and just sort of leaning back, just sort of ready to go for a nap almost.
Yeah.
And then just all of a sudden, a speaker was handed to me. We were playing music, we're having
trying to get hyped up for
second rave
semi-final. Yeah,
we showed up. We
What?
had. I remember showing up and going, "Something's off.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's something wrong."
You could feel something was coming.
Yeah,
You could
I
feel
was
something.
like, "God's gonna strike me down now."
Yeah. Well, we turned up at the school, didn't we? We had a nice long not coach journey, minibus journey.
Minibus.
Hung over. At this point, we were probably hanging. We'd been awake for long enough, and we rocked up to the school. We got through prep for the game, got changed, got out into the game. We were getting smashed, absolutely mullered, run around by Robert Clack. And
thing is, when I got injured during that game, we were only losing by one try. I'm pretty sure.
it was right at the start, though, wasn't it? Your injury.
I was injured within about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say. But the reason I remember it so well, which is really bizarre, I didn't get like a concussion or anything, but I just remember because before the game, I was having a chat with one of the Basel rugby coaches.
Yeah.
Because we had a game that weekend as well. Me and him were having a chat, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we've got a big game. You gassed for it?" I was like, "Yeah. I'm all good. I'm ready. Then I went and chatted to our PE teacher, our coach for our rugby team that day. I had a chat with him. He went, "All right, big game from you. If we are going to get anything from this, I'm expecting, you just put
big things.
And I was like, "All right, I'm on this. And then, game starts, running around for about 5-6 minutes. I see a massive kid. He was huge. He was so big that Alex was on the other side of him and I couldn't see Alex. So I've run in, I'm tackling him, and I'm sort of swinging him down with my shoulder in him to land on top of him. But as I'm swinging, I see Alex sprint from the other side, and I was like, we're going to double tackle him, get him down. But as I've sort of spun him around, Alex has just gone, we just collided head into head.
Oh,
it was like, it sounded like a gun went off.
Yeah.
It was just so loud.
I've got up after this, and I'm wiping blood off my forehead. I'm standing up. I'm thinking, what the hell has gone on? I was dazed. I got up and I was going, what? Some of the other players in the teams were walking about. The whistle had been blown. I'm wiping blood. I'm thinking, I'm bleeding. I've cut my head open. I turn around and Kurt's on his knee, blood gushing out of his forehead. Really cut his fucking head open.
So obviously, by the time we've hit our head, nobody's noticed that there's blood yet at that point. So I've carried on the tackle. I've got the kid down. Alex has almost bounced off of me.
Yeah.
And is standing there, just sort of dazed in his own little thing. I took this kid down to the ground, got on a knee, or got up, got on a knee almost to go over the ball, got the ball, picked the ball up, so I've stolen the ball. And then I just sort of wiped my forehead because it was just I thought, Jesus, I'm sweating, blood everywhere. I've just wiped it on my fucking shorts, and I've just sort of looked up, and I'm like, everyone's just staring at me. I'm like, what have I done wrong? Yeah. Well, I was like, have I fouled him? What?
Yeah.
And then I'd not noticed. I've just gotten back up. I'm all good to play on in my head. I'm just like, I'll just bandage it.
Yeah.
Just walk back. I'm walking away. And we have one of our players, Cushley.
Yeah.
Walks over to me, just stands in front of me, puts his arms on me, just goes, sit down. And I'm like, no.
I had no idea what was happening.
I was like, I'm not no basic.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, it's safe to say you spent the rest of the day in A&E. And I still owe you a dinner after.
Thing is, as well, I didn't spend the whole day in A&E because, bear in mind, I'm covered in blood at this point. I've literally just soaked. My top, I had to take it home because they couldn't reuse it. They had to clean it properly. So I was like, I'll clean it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure I actually owned the top still. I don't think I ever returned it to it. But so I took it out. I'm standing on the sideline, and at this time, I've got one of the Basildon rugby coaches just standing, bandaging my head up.
Yeah.
But I've got a lazy eye. My right eye is my lazy eye. My left eye is my strong eye.
Yeah.
Thing is, he's hit me above my left eye, which has caused my left eye to swell so much that I couldn't see out my left eye.
Oh.
So all I can see is sort of like half of what I can normally see through what my right eye. And they were like, you've got to keep your eye closed. And I was like, I'm not having it. So I sort of switched the bandage around as if it was on the other side of my head. And I was just walking up and down the side, like, just, come on, get me back on. And
I do
like,
remember
no,
that. I do
you're
remember
not
you
going
asking
back
to
on.
come back onto the pitch, but, you know, they weren't having any of it, were they?
I mean, considering we were all, let's be honest, done. Like,
Yeah.
we were
I don't think...
hungover, could barely run as it was. None of us threw up. We had a player on our team throw up, but it wasn't us.
No. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with ourselves, to be honest.
No, I'm surprised. Thing is, as well, because I had such a high alcohol level in me, it made my blood thinner.
Blood
That's
thinner, yeah.
why
It helped you out. You
there
could have
was so-
died. I reckon you could have died, Kurt. I reckon getting drunk the night before saved your life.
Yeah.
Well,
That's,
there's a lesson to learn here, kids. There's a lesson
After
to learn here.
finishing school on a Friday night, have a few drinks because you never know, it might save your
It
life.
might save your life. Well, that
That's
was
probably
definitely
not a good message.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe don't do that if you're listening.
How about do it, but just live with the consequences?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty pivotal moment in our friendship, wasn't it? We
Yeah.
that was a pretty big moment between us.
I think I'd argue that was one of the funniest sort of just like, you know, who could have predicted this moments. But we've had a few moments we're just like, what's happened here?
Yeah.
Like, for example, we mentioned it on the last podcast when we went round Alex's, watched AJ Klitschko
Yeah.
back in the day. That was a funny night.
That was lots of tears were shed that night.
Well, by you,
Nobody else cared. It was just me.
yeah, I'm not like AJ. I was like, oh, he seems alright.
Yeah.
It's a shame if he lost. Oh well.
Yeah. Trying to think of some more rugby stories.
Rugby. I've got a fun story of you were injured for this game and you were just standing on the sideline. So all the pressure went on me to win us this game.
Was this at Basildon? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Old Brentwood.
Oh yeah.
And it was one of them games where I was like, we should destroy this team.
Yeah.
And then I sort of, as I said that in my head, I was like, we are missing the top try scorer and a load of forwards. Like at this point, I am a forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a small guy. Like, you know, I've never been under 100 kg when playing rugby.
No.
Like, but for Basildon, I was in their eyes winger. So I don't know if that just sort of says something about Basildon or if it says something about our numbers.
Play you absolutely anywhere.
But no, I remember that game because obviously at this point I've just played wing for ages. And then they went, well, Alex is injured. You're going to got to play centre. And I was like, all right.
Suck you in. Scored a hat-trick that game though, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I scored a hat-trick and also gave a pass or an assist on the try line because I had 4 players holding it.
Yeah.
And I just was
I
like,
do remember that
can't
game.
be
I
arsed,
was
just
gutted
give it
because
away.
back then our team really wasn't that strong.
It didn't need to be.
No. But playing Old Brentwood was a pretty big game because they were one of the only teams in the county we could actually beat, and I found myself with a concussion that week.
Honestly, I just remember because I was outside centre. I'm pretty sure that game.
Yeah.
And I just remember having the coach come up behind our try line, like behind our dead ball line, and he was just standing there going, "Kirk, in."
In.
And I was like, "What?" He was like, "In." We had a 5 metre scrum. In. I was like, "What? I'm what in the scrum?" He was like, "No." He moved me all the way from outside centre to basically scrum half. So because we kept trying to kick it out, but they would kick it out and then they just run it straight back in because none of us could hit tackles.
Just giving you as a bulldozer.
So he just went, just run. And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So I literally got the ball off a 5 metre scrum and ran the pitch, got tackled on their 5 and just popped the ball up.
Yeah.
I was just like, there you go. Someone score.
Oh, we have got some funny rugby stories, haven't we? I think we should probably move on to our next set of topics. because we could talk forever about rugby stories. A lot of
True,
stuff
true.
happens. I mean, stereotypically, rugby players are pretty party crazy, aren't they? So I've prepared for us this week. I did say last week that we were going to make it a running event that I'd get you to rate a topic. So last week I got you to rate some sandwiches. Backlash for that. This week I've done a bit of research, and I thought that maybe for you could rate the year that was 2020. So I've got a list here. I've printed
1 out of
off
10.
A list. Yeah, the whole year, -5. I've printed off a list for you. I put a lot behind this one,
Right.
and I've got bullet points of big events that happened every month of last year. Definitely, by far, the worst year of our lives so far, I think.
Yeah.
So most of these aren't very positives. There's a few positives in here. But I thought we could go through like a timeline of the months, and you can give me what your favourite month was and what your least favourite month was. Does that sound good?
Yeah, but before we start, if there's anything we've missed, don't moan at me.
Yeah. Yeah. If we have missed any big events, then I was trying to rush this list out this week. So obviously we're going to start with January. So January 2020.
We're going to start with April.
Yeah. January 2020, we had some big bushfires in Australia,
I
if you remember
that,
those.
yeah.
That was sort of clouded over by the coronavirus, but we did have the massive bushfires in Australia. Harry and Meghan were kicked out of the royal family in January.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah, I forgot about that as well. We officially left the EU and started our transition period as a UK.
Yep.
Scotland tried to get a second independence vote, and Boris told them to F off. And one that's going to lead on to future months is British Airways, the first aeroplane company or whatever to suspend their flights to China in the growing epidemic of the coronavirus there. And obviously, back in January, we didn't
British
think much
Airways.
of it. It was very, very small, and it was just in Wuhan. It was just starting. What would you rate January? Just bear in mind, you've read the rest of the month of how bad stuff gets. What would you rate January out of 10?
Am I comparing it to other months that a year? Or
Yes,
just...
yeah. Compare it to the rest of 2020.
So, all right. So it'll be a 1 to 12 system.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's a good idea. Don't compare it to other years, because they'd all be at minus numbers. What do you think? Are you going to make a list on your phone?
Yeah.
Make a list on your phone.
That's what I'm doing.
Where would you put January?
I'm going to put January. So 1 being the best, 12 being
Yes,
the
12
worst.
being the
right?
worst.
I'd say, you know what? Overall, January it was an all right month.
Yeah, compared to the rest of the months, as you'll hear.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 4.
4?
Maybe
yeah, it's
3.
a safe bet. Go
I'll
with
say
3.
3.
Go with 3. Write 3 down. Okay, we'll move swiftly on to February. Now, compared to other months, not a lot of stuff had happened here. Basically, COVID was spreading. We had those British citizens trapped on a cruise ship with an outbreak of COVID. And that was actually the first British death from coronavirus was on that cruise ship. It was a 80-something-year-old bloke who died. And apart from that, in February, all the news stories were COVID spreading from China across Asia and into Europe. So not a lot happened, Kurt. So there's not a lot to go off there.
I'm just thinking, colleges were still open.
Yeah.
We're all living our normal lives at this point. I'm
playing
going to give it...
rugby, going parties.
Yeah, although, don't get me wrong, if I was doing it with the idea of if I could change it,
Yep.
I would be like, oi, sort it out.
Yeah, lock us down now.
Yeah, but I'd say from then, I'd give it 4.
4, yeah, all right, going below January.
I'm only going below because, although the months weren't better, I've got better memories of
Yes,
certain
some
months.
of the months
'Cause
during lockdown.
Don't get me wrong, I'm
did
not
have
doing
that.
this as a thing for just the whole of the world.
Yeah,
Because I'm sure that there's somebody who probably in, I don't know, May had the best month of their life. But
yeah. We're talking personally here. We are talking personally.
yeah, like I can't judge what other people be up
Yeah.
to.
All right. Now we have March. Now in March we had COVID spreading across Europe. Obviously, the Olympics was basically told this isn't going to happen anymore. No chance. We had the Premier League got suspended in March.
Six Nations as well.
Yes, all major sports were suspended in March. March was when, well, actually, I've got some stats. At the start of March, we had 36 confirmed cases of COVID in this country. By the end of March, we were in the four figures for cases with over 500 people dead. That's when the furlough program started. Boris shut pubs, clubs, gyms, everything, closed everything that wasn't essential, basically. It was the start of the end.
11.
Almost. 11. You're putting it at 11. Okay.
Yes, it ruined. Because the thing is my birthday was in April, and I was hoping it would just after my birthday
Yeah.
I'll be happy. But no,
No.
it had to
All right. Well,
ruin me.
considering your birthday was in April, we'll move on to April. In April, Boris catches COVID. Well, Boris catches COVID at the end of March. He goes into intensive care for COVID in April. Sir Tom Moore, obviously recent news of him passing away, RIP. In April, he raised over £13 million for the NHS Trust, walking 100 laps of his garden. And in the end of April, we had the second highest death toll for COVID in Europe, with over 26,000 deaths, which is about the time that Boris said, and I'll quote this, that we are past the peak and that we will avoid a second spike in cases now. Looking back now, sounds ridiculous because we're in like the third or fourth spike or whatever we're in now. But yes, he did say that. So April, again, another very bad year.
I would say terrible month.
Yep.
But my birthday was in it, and I got very drunk, so I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put it at 6.
6.
Although
okay.
I did get alcohol poisoning, so it's going down to a 7.
It's going down to a 7. Okay. In May, we had the first trials for the track and trace app. That is obviously very successful now. Yes.
Is it?
No, it's not. They opened up the Nightingale hospitals across the country because hospitals were being overwhelmed by cases. In May, Boris starts to ease the restrictions because the numbers were dropping. You could socially distance with people outside. Nothing else was open yet, but you could meet people outside in the open again. Another major event that has spiraled across the whole of 2020 was the death of George Floyd in May. Obviously sparked protests across the world, but yes, that was in May.
Was it?
Yes, and at the end of May, the UK hit 50,000 deaths. Now, in March, we only had 36 confirmed cases, and by the end of May, we had 50,000 deaths. Where's May going?
All right. I'm going to say 10th.
10th.
10th. Only because the month afterwards was during all of the protests and everything, where it just sort of went mental.
Yeah, everything did light up a bit in June, didn't it? So, as much as our COVID levels actually dropped in this country, we went down from a COVID alert level 4 to a COVID alert level 3. Put that into perspective, we're filming this at the start of February 2021, and we are a COVID alert level 5 right now. We had mass protests across the world for police brutality and racism after the George Floyd death. And we had our first lockdown. They locked down the city of Leicester because they had a huge spike in cases. Where is June going on your table?
See, 11's already taken by March. So the thing is, humanity as a whole did show, they're like, oi, none of this, please.
Yeah, we did come together in June. That is
it was a positive. But then obviously, lockdown sort of.
Yeah.
That was when it started.
Well, we weren't in lockdown.
Well, no,
we
didn't.
We were starting to come out of the restrictions.
But the problem is that was when the Simpsons meme was coming, where things were just being dropped on top of cities.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
everyone thought things were getting worse. Well, actually, when we talk about it... Oh, actually, we didn't get a number. What number? Where's June going?
Do you know what? I'll go 6. Just
6.
because, humanity as a whole had a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm hoping you've left one of these top spots for the next month because things in the UK, I'm not going to talk about the rest of the world because it was heating up everywhere, but in the UK, things did very much start to get better. In July.
I've just read
my
it. Pubs
my
were
18th
open.
birthday was in July.
Pubs.
And yes, the first point I've got on the list is further easing of restrictions. In July, Boris decided that he was going to open up gyms again. He was going to open up leisure centres. He was going to open up pubs and bars. Everywhere was starting to reopen again. There was a couple of weeks in July where people could get away on holiday. Luckily, I managed to get away to Greece for a week, which was very nice. And that's about it. Numbers were still dropping, and restrictions were being lifted. Yeah. Where's that going? Number one.
It's going 1.
It's got to be. It's got to be number 1. We had a big old. I say big old session. There was only 6 of us because
I'm gonna
the rule
say
of 6.
Yeah.
But we did have a big old session in July for my birthday, which was nice.
We did. It was fun.
Okay. August. Now things are getting worse.
It was slightly worse.
Yes.
I wouldn't argue.
It's starting to show a bad side now. We're coming out of the dropping of numbers for COVID. Now, in August, A-levels, GCSEs and stuff, that was... we had, I think it was A-level results day. Exams had been cancelled, obviously. So some people were impressed by this. Some people got better grades than they expected. Lots of people were left disappointed with their grades because it was done from teachers' predictions. In August, I don't know if you remember, we had that enormous explosion in Beirut in Lebanon. Massive explosion on the docks. I just remember watching a video. And August saw the start of the Eat Out to Help Out program. Now, think what you want of that. Personally, the Eat Out to Help Out was lovely. Half price.
See, that's what I'm going to say. Like, in terms of my, well, they shouldn't have done it.
No.
Straightforward. They shouldn't have. But in terms of, being 18, not being able to do anything, not even able to see your friends,
Yeah.
In the Act to Help Out scheme, it made my month.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes, it was a very nice month for going out for dinner. But it did start a bit of a spike in cases.
It definitely did. And I think looking back at it, I probably wouldn't have gone out to as many places. But as an overall, August was a fun month.
Yes. I think it was the last fun month we had.
I'm going to give it 2.
Okay, so we've got July in 1, August in 2, and January in 3.
February 4.
Oh. Okay, let's go into September. Actually, something that might sway your thing on August. I've got it written on my list. It might not be on your one. Chadwick Boseman died in August.
That is a big loss.
The Black Panther died in August. Is that going to sway your decision? Or
I'm going to say no, only because I can't move it any more than... It would have to go all the way to 5.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no month in there
that deserves to be in at the 2 spot.
2.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, in September, they decided to reopen schools for the new year. Full capacity, all children back, and they didn't make it mandatory to wear masks, only optional. We had almost 3,000 positive tests in a single day, which is the highest we'd seen since May. President Trump and Joe Biden had their first debate in September for the up-and-coming election, obviously.
Memes, that's what I can think of.
There was another shooting of a black man in America, and that sparked an even bigger protests from the BLM movement across the world. Boris brought in the rule of 6, with exceptions for team sports. We were still training at rugby, not doing everything, but we could still, and you could still meet at work as well. By the end of September, we had nearly 7,000 positive tests in a day, which is the highest number since mass testing started. Which, if we're going to go back just the month before with the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, there's a correlation coming on here. Boris has opened everything up, and suddenly the numbers start flying up.
Now, let's not get too political.
Yeah.
But I will 100% agree with that. I think the idea made a bit of sense.
Yeah.
But its execution was terribly wrong.
Yes.
The
Wrong
fact
timing.
that you had to, for example, stay in the restaurant with everyone else was a bit questionable.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon if it was a takeaway sort of thing, it would have been a bit more
Yeah.
useful. But
Right. I'm just looking at the time here. We're going to fly through the rest of these months because they were very recent, so they're very fresh in people's minds here. Let's go on.
I've got 8, by the way.
You're going on
8.
to 8. Yep. Okay.
That was 8.
Okay. So in October, we saw Boris make his first suggestion for the 3-tier system, the famous 3-tier system, which turned into a 4-tier system, obviously. And Manchester had a massive spike in cases. I remember this.
Oh, yeah.
And refused to accept any further measures. So they had the highest numbers in the whole country. Boris wanted to lock them down, and they said no. Well, take from that what you will. Some good news that happened in October for the F1 fans that may be listening. I'm quite into my motor racing. Lewis Hamilton equalled Michael Schumacher's all-time Grand Prix wins in the German Grand Prix, which was 91. He won his 91st race. But we'll get back to Earth for a bit. At the end of the month, we had hit over 1 million positive cases in the UK. 1 million. What do we think, Kurt?
I'm going to say 5.
5. I'm going to assume that you're only doing that because the rest of the months gets worse and worse. So you need to figure out.
I just sort of did a quick read.
Yeah.
In November and December, went, well, neither of them are 5.
No. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so November, there was.
And I remember October. You know, I remember it, and it wasn't a terrible month.
No.
It was lockdown, but the thing is, it was still when everyone was like, there was things you could still do.
Yeah.
Like everyone didn't watch everything by that point.
Yeah. That's true. Going into November, we had the furlough got extended till this year. We had the US election where Joe Biden was elected the 46th president of the United States, I believe. They announced a massive rollout of vaccines across the country. Unfortunately, the UK terror threat level went up from, I think it went from, I don't know what it was before, but it's gone to severe after there were some terrorist attacks in Austria and France in November. Another F1 thing, I don't know why I put this in, but when I was looking up headlines for November, Lewis Hamilton kept popping up. So Lewis Hamilton won his 7th F1 title.
See, that's the thing, you know, if Lewis Hamilton was rating these months, the last 2 months would have been 1 and 2.
Perfect. So he'd equalled Michael Schumacher's all-time F1 record. And November lockdown, we were in a lockdown in November. Boris said it would end on the 2nd of December and we would go into his strict 3-tier system that he'd previously put us on.
I'm putting November 9.
9. And that only leaves
12.
The last and worst month
Yes.
in size of the year was December. Now we'll start off the vaccines were starting to be rolled out in December. But unfortunately, we did have the introduction of the new South African variant of the coronavirus, which was more contagious. And as you can see by the numbers, currently spreading all over the place. I think one of the biggest things that happened was Boris told everyone that we could mix households over Christmas for 5 days over Christmas.
Last minute said no.
Yes, he told us all that stick to the rules, and I promise you will mix. I think he said 3 households could mix over 5 days at Christmas. And only a couple of days later, London and the South East were put from tier 2 to tier 3. I think that was on the 16th of December we were put on there.
Tier 4.
No, we were put into tier 3 on the 16th. Then,
on
the 19th, Boris decided to announce a 4th tier. Bearing in mind this is now 6 days before Christmas. He announced a 4th tier for London and the South East, which meant that people could no longer mix households for Christmas. So any plans you had made were scrapped. Now, my opinion on this is that I don't think they should have introduced it at first. I think the idea that everyone would be able to see their families and friends on Christmas is a very nice idea, and everyone wanted to do it. But if we're going by trying to lower cases, telling people they could in the first place wasn't the right thing.
The problem was you can't sort of go, oh, yeah, no, yeah. And then last minute go, no.
Yeah. They should have said no to it from the first. Yeah. It wasn't a good idea. But unfortunately, they got everyone's hopes
Boris's
up.
Plan
and even the people
Christmas.
who weren't in tier 4 were only allowed on Christmas Day with one other household. Yeah. That was it. What else happened in... what else happened? COVID hit a record high for cases in the UK. We had 40,000 cases in a single day on the 23rd. That was the first record that was broken. That was then broken 3 days later with 42,000 in a day, which was then broken another 3 days later with 53,000 in a single day, which yet again, 2 days later, on the last day of the year, on the 31st of December, we hit a record high of 55,000 cases in a single day. Brilliant,
well, you can
brilliant
see
end
why
to the
I ranked
year.
it 12.
Yeah. And good or bad news for whatever people's political opinions are, it was the end of our transition period when we officially left the EU. So I'm taking that's going to take your last spot in the table, and December was the worst month of the year. Well, what a naff year that was, Kurt. What an absolutely naff year. I think, let's just move. Let's not talk about it. Nobody wants to reminisce about 2020 any longer. You seen any good TV shows? Movies? Anything?
New one coming out as we speak on Disney Plus, which, by the way, when that platform came out, big things.
Disney Plus is great, isn't it?
It is really good. However, for the amount of stuff Disney own, they could have
put some more on there, couldn't they? I mean,
Don't get me wrong.
we're not taking a mick or anything. Like
No,
it's
'cause at
Disney.
the end of the
If you want a deal or something here, then let us know. But
but don't get me wrong, they got like 25, 20 seasons of Simpsons. I think that's stupid.
The Simpsons are on there.
Like, that's a lot of Simpsons to watch, but a man can only watch Simpsons for so much time.
Yes, 20 seasons of it. Well, I think I know what TV show you're talking about.
Yep.
WandaVision. The new Marvel TV show. Now, obviously, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea because some people don't like Marvel and superhero films. But
I must say, I watched the first episode when it came out. I was looking forward to it. I was like, I like Wanda. I like Vision.
Yes.
It would be good. I did not like, but I didn't know what it was.
That's true.
You watch the first episode and you go...
It is confusing. The first 2 episodes, I'd say, they confuse you. And actually, if you're not a Marvel fan and you haven't seen at least a couple of films previous in Infinity War and Endgame, you probably wouldn't know what's happening. But the first 2 episodes, I'd say, I'm not going to say they were bad because they lead the story on very well, but it only starts to reveal stuff in episode 3.
I'd say the problem is, if this came out as a full series, ready to stream the whole
all in
thing
one.
in one go,
It would be better,
I reckon it would have blown up
broke
even
some
more
records,
than it has now.
Yeah,
But I can understand, money. They want to make money
yeah,
at the end of the day, so they're not going to release the whole thing. And
yeah.
The same thing happened with The Boys.
yeah. That's true. The Boys on Amazon. Oh, mate, that's probably my
Although I
favourite.
feel like the way they're releasing it, which was 3 episodes, then an episode a week, is better. If WandaVision did the first 3 episodes,
I got hooked. I think. Oh, what are you doing?
I don't know. That was.
I think you almost
Scary.
pulled your microphone out of the socket there.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It's, okay.
It's all right. It's still in. It's still in. Yeah. WandaVision. I'd 100% recommend anyone who hasn't seen it. If you're a Marvel fan, it is brilliant. Brilliant TV show.
You need to give it.
Yeah.
I'd say an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, it's good because
know what's
all
going
the
on.
episodes are half an hour long tops. So if you can watch the first 2 or 3 episodes in a go, you'll get hooked. There's only 5 episodes out at the moment, so it's only about 2.5 hours of watch. But once you get to the 5th episode, I'm hooked because the story, it develops so much in the last 2 episodes that have come out. It's great. They release 1 a week. Brilliant TV show.
Now, spoiler.
No,
Well, not spoiler, but, possible spoiler.
Possible spoiler.
Well, we're going to mention till episode 5.
Yes.
And then, let's be honest, me and Alex are going to play a little game here. He doesn't know about this. Alex, what's going to happen next?
Oh, no. Okay. I will tell anyone that hasn't watched up until episode 5 yet. Skip forward.
Skip forward. You know what? We'll put a mark in the description.
Yes. Just skip forward if you don't want to hear this. What do I think is going to happen next, Kurt? I really couldn't tell you. It left on a big cliffhanger, didn't it? Episode 5.
Or what? Not even what's going to happen next. What's the next phase of Marvel going to be?
Well, they've already said the films that are coming out.
I know they said the films, but obviously the way Marvel do their things is there's a lot of thought behind it.
Yeah.
For example, I've seen a few theories out there. People are saying WandaVision is going to break time pretty much, make multiverses, which leads to Doctor Strange versus Wanda.
Yes.
And the Spider-Man film. Think about the last one.
Yeah.
Talking about multiverses.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is in
I
the
think
Spider-Man film.
I've read this. And do you know the biggest giveaway? This is going to be a major spoiler for anyone who hasn't watched WandaVision's episode 5. At the end of episode 5, we see the introduction of Wanda's brother, who died in the Age of Ultron film years and years before this was set. But if you actually pay attention to who the actor is playing it, he is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe actor that plays in the Avengers films. He is the actor that plays Quicksilver in the X-Men films. Now, funny enough, they are the same character in 2 different universes. So I did read a theory about multiverses, and that Wanda has already broken time in this universe, and in comes her brother from the X-Men universe. And people are saying not only could we see this a lead on to Spider-Man and Doctor Strange,
maybe
we could see a crossover, finally see a crossover between the Avengers and the X-Men in the Marvel universe.
Now, not only that, there is a chance that through grief alone, Wanda may become the next big villain.
Well, she's currently the villain in WandaVision until we see anything else, isn't she? She is the villain.
I mean, I'm talking Avengers level.
Yeah.
They said it in one of the episodes. They said about Wanda. Yeah. They said she could have killed Thanos on her own.
Yeah. She's strong as shit. She's strong as shit.
Arguably the most powerful.
Yes.
Her or Captain America. Yeah. Not Captain America.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah. We love to see it. Women taking their role in the Marvel universe finally.
Although I don't like Captain Marvel. I just
don't cocky, isn't she? She's very cocky.
I don't like her.
No.
Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Except for unless money, then at which point Brie Larson. What lass.
Come on the podcast. Get on the podcast. All right. What time are we at, Kurt? I'm going to move on here. Yep. We had a nice discussion. This is going to move on to my news of the week. Now, you don't know about this, Kurt.
I do like news of the week.
We had a segment last week. News of the week.
Fun time.
This week, this is going to move nicely on from talking about WandaVision and more importantly, talking about Vision. Now, I don't know if you've seen in the news this week, but I'll let you guess what the news is if you have seen it. Vision, what is he known for? on his head? What is he known
Oh,
for? I think you figured it out. Vision is a superhero who has the Mind Stone in his head, the Mind Infinity Stone in the Marvel Universe. Now, a big news that came out this week, the rapper Lil Uzi Vert, as
What a
he was
name.
referred to, yes, has come up this week because he has inserted a $24 million diamond into his forehead. It is crazy. I'll get a picture up and show you right, Kurt, because it is.
correct me if I've seen it, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's not centered.
It's not a wholly centered. I don't know who did it for him. I don't know how he's managed to, but he's had it surgically inserted into his forehead,
And missed the
it
centre.
looks absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, where's the photo I've got of it? Somewhere here. There
It
you go.
is just.
He's
bizarre,
trying to be
isn't
Vision. He's trying to be Vision. He is trying to be
really
Vision.
is.
He has a diamond in his forehead. Ridiculous.
it? Do you reckon if you rip it out, it just turns grey? Sort of falls
Poofs away like Vision does. He explodes. I've also got a fact for this week because it's another thing I said we can continue on from last week. The fact of this week I struggled for because not a lot happened this week. So it's not about
really.
this week, but I just sort of had
Yeah,
a look on the
just
internet and found a
fact.
funny fact. And this is pretty funny. This is pretty funny here. Sorry for anybody who actually suffers from this, but Kurt, there is people that can suffer from a psychological disorder, which is called, and I'm sorry if I absolutely ruin this pronunciation here, but I think it's bounthropy or something like that, that makes them believe that they are a cow. They actually live their day-to-day life thinking that they are a physical cow. Psychological disorder.
How do they eat? What do they eat? Where do they eat?
If they're not cared for, Kurt, they will find a field and they will graze on grass.
Who cares for them?
Family and friends, and I can imagine they go to psychological
how that's a
hospitals.
psychological. To be fair, I think we can talk about this because I can't see any cows listening.
No,
But
it is weird. The mind. How is there a disorder that can make somebody believe they are a cow?
like, don't get me wrong, you got proper, like, well, I say proper. You got disorders that are pretty obvious.
Yes.
You know, you got, like, for example, something like dyslexia.
Yes.
It's something it's clear. Like the person who has it, it's obvious they have it.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I'd argue that if you found a human being on their hands and knees eating grass in a field,
yeah, but that's the
it's
thing.
pretty.
Cows don't go on their hands and knees. They go on their feet and their
Yes, feet. They're 4
Like-
feet. Yes.
So
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know the science behind it. I didn't look that far into it, but I thought that was a pretty funny fact.
that is a pretty weird one. Like,
Yes.
but who decided? Yeah, no, he thinks he's a cow. Like, because the cow wouldn't have said. He wouldn't have gone, "I'm a cow."
Yeah,
by the way.
just moves.
And if he did, surely you take that as a joke. Like, let's say one day I go to Alex's and I'm just walking through, like, you know, where he lives, and I just see Alex on all fours, just like munching on a bit of grass, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh, I'm a cow now." I would go, "You're vegetarian." No, but no, I'd be like, "Well, that's clearly a joke."
Yeah.
Who?
Well, it must be proven in some way because it's got its own name and it's its own disorder. But
True, but then there are like people who scared like holes in cheese. But, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's hard to believe.
irregular holes, I believe.
Yes. Okay, Kurt.
Yeah.
We're getting to the end of the podcast, so I thought we'd save the sporty side again for the end.
Oh, please.
I think we'll briefly mention the fantasy league we've got in the Premier League at the moment.
I can talk about that. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I know I said last week that I was
Reasonably
going to start playing very well. I changed my team about and I did pretty well. I got the second highest score in the first games of this week. I did pretty well. I then completely forgot about it and didn't change my team at all. So I've had an awful week. Well, I wouldn't say I've had an awful week. I'm at 43 points. Victor has just dropped down into fourth. He's on 33. So I'm gaining on Victor, but as of right now, I'm really not having a good
I thought Kane was injured. Apparently he's back.
He must be back now.
He scored a goal, so he's back.
Oh, well in.
And Son also scored, which is nice because he's in my team.
Yep, I have Son in my team as well.
Oh, well then I'm annoyed he scored.
We also made a fantasy league for the Six Nations this week.
Now, I would like to just give a pre-warning with this. When Alex put it in the chat, it was only him in the league, so I just assumed this was just going to be a complete and utter just blasphemous league of just me and him, and I just put random players in the team and then forgot about it. But I went on it during the game and went, everyone's captained this one guy.
Yeah, we're all taking it quite seriously, and Kurt was not. So Kurt's currently sitting in last. I think I'm in third, so I'm doing quite all right. I think there's 8 or 9 people in our league for the fantasy league.
Oh, I can't say your name.
Yeah, my name's not very appropriate. I've got my little brother. My little brother's made in. His name is, I think his team name is Stephen Hawkins Swim Team. Is what his name is. So where am I at the moment?
Are you Madeline McCann?
Yes, I'm Madeline McCann.
Second.
So I'm second. I think Theo was top of the league.
Yeah, we're going to give a shout out to Theo.
He's smashed it this week, isn't he?
The fact that he has 3 times my score.
Yeah, I think he got your score. He captained Teddy Thomas, the French winger, scored 2 or 3 tries at the weekend. And 2. I think he captained Teddy Thomas. And from the points he got from that one player alone, he's almost equalled your entire team's points for this weekend so far. Although at the time of recording, we're actually waiting for the third and final game to come up. So we'll actually go on to the predictions we made last week. We're going to put an end to the predictions. We're going to stop predicting the games because anyone that watches any rugby knows that this week was absolutely god awful for England. We can't say the score for the game that's about to happen because it kicks off in 5 minutes, which is Wales versus Ireland. But for the 2 games that happened yesterday, Kurt, you predicted... Actually, can you get the scores up on your phone? Because I've forgotten the scores already. Okay. So you predicted that Italy and France would beat Italy 38-7. I predicted that France would beat Italy 42-12. What was the actual score?
So Italy got 10.
10. I was 2 points off.
France had 50.
And I was 8 points off. So
you were closer.
I was closer with both scores. But I wouldn't say it was a bad prediction, actually. France did do a lot better than we thought. Okay, and we will
end it on that.
Yeah. We will do a brief mention to the England versus Scotland game.
Can I just point out, right? I'm reading it right now. At half time, the England game was 6-8. So in 40 minutes of rugby, 3 points were scored.
Yes. It was, I wouldn't even say it was a boring game because there was a lot of stuff going on. But it was only not boring because England just kept making mistakes.
We just kept kicking it away.
Yeah, I'd say Dan Robson came on at 9 in the second half and had a stinker. Just kept kicking the ball away. We'd go 12, 13, 14 phases up the field, making yards, and he'd nudge the ball straight to their fullback.
Straight to Hogg.
Yeah.
And then Hogg would just boot it back.
Hogg would do some absolutely insane kick right into the corner and they'd be out. So, yes. Kurt, you predicted that England would beat Scotland 38-17. I predicted that England would beat Scotland 28-12. And the game actually ended 11 points to 6. Was it to 6?
It was 6. Yeah.
11 points to 6. And Scotland reclaimed the Calcutta Cup and beat England. So I think we can pretty much write off our predictions altogether. And we can write off the... England winning Six Nations as well if we can't even beat Scotland.
Yeah.
So, yes, safe. It's not...
Now, there is a game tonight. Well, I say tonight, 4:30.
Yes.
Liverpool-Man City.
That's a big game. Oh, City are going to win. City are going to win. Liverpool are having a stinker at the moment.
I reckon... I don't reckon, but I want to draw.
Of course you do, because you're a Manchester United fan. As an Arsenal fan, sitting in 10th place in the league right now, I... really couldn't care less. I'd love to see Liverpool lose again because I've got a couple of friends who are Liverpool fans, and
true, we know no one
never ever heard so much shite come out of somebody's mouth than from a Liverpool fan when they finally won the league last year. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I would love to watch him keep getting knocked down the table.
Thing is,
by
I wouldn't
Arsenal.
mind him just getting a point.
Yes, but you want United to win the league. Let's be honest. Arsenal have written off. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to get in the top 4. So it doesn't really matter, does it?
True, but who would you rather to win the league? United, Liverpool, or City?
Personal preference here. I know a lot of Liverpool fans. I know a lot of United fans. I know no City fans. So I think I prefer Manchester City to win the league. Just because I'd never hear the fucking end of it from you if United won the league.
Find the league again.
Although I was actually cheering for Manchester United last night in the Everton
You were.
game, wasn't I, when we were playing Xbox?
Only because you had Bruno in your
Only
fantasy
because
league.
I had Bruno Fernandes. Scored a screamer, though, let's be honest. He did score a screamer.
Lovely goal.
Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything we needed to, Kurt.
I feel like that as well.
We
Let me just have a double
got
check.
a list here. I mean, I'm happy. We've kept things light-hearted this week. I feel like, we said it last week, we didn't really intend on getting deep, and I know a lot of people quite enjoyed to hear it, so we're happy to bring it back and have some deep subjects at some points. But we enjoyed making this.
I think the big problem that we had with obviously starting the podcast with that sort of subject is what we didn't want to do is give off, a vibe of it's just me and Alex going, oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
And then just sort of, just talking about,
I think
depression.
We wanted to represent our personalities a bit more because, let's be honest, Kurt, we are very unserious.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I'd say, if I had to describe our normal day-to-day conversation, like, I'll message Alex, I'm like, yo, you coming on Xbox or PlayStation for him because he's a dweeb. But I'm like, come on, we're going to play something. Like last night, brilliant night last night.
Yeah.
Rocket League, first time proper on it.
Yeah.
Building our future esports team.
Yeah. The tabletop esports.
We won a few games. We lost a few games.
Yeah, we are very unserious people, so it did take us aback a bit when we were asked to do that subject. We're happy to do it. I personally quite enjoyed it. I think Kurt enjoyed talking about it as well. It's good to talk about that sort of stuff from time to time. And, if anybody does want to hear anything, even if it's like a personal experience, don't hesitate. Just let us know. We're happy to talk about it. But we thought we'd keep things lighthearted this week because it's a bit of you can get to know us a little bit more. You've heard some stories about us now. So.
we say we kept it lighthearted. I have a list here of terrible months.
Yes, that's true. Hands. That wasn't very lighthearted. But
I would also like to just say, Alex,
yes,
got any suggestions of something to talk about on the next podcast? Sort of anyone got any recommendations of a film, a show? Obviously, if it's a long show, there's a little chance.
Maybe give us a bit of time to watch it all. But,
but if it's a couple of hours, we might manage it. But or we did suggest it to each other. We're like, we could listen to a song.
Yeah.
We could review a song.
Well, I'm happy to do that. If anybody's got any suggestions on films they've watched, TV shows, we're happy to give you our very expert views and reviews on these films and TV shows, and even music. I'm always looking for new music. I'm always looking for new TV shows. So, yeah, and it's the same for last week. If anybody's got any suggestions about any topics they want to hear, feel free. We're going to think of another poll to put up this week to spark another debate.
There is one more topic that we haven't covered.
What's that?
Floyd.
Oh my God.
Money Man Floyd.
Oh, I feel like we could go into this for hours though, Kurt. Let's keep it brief because we are.
I mean, all right, we'll cover it.
Yeah, basically, what's happened this week is most people have probably heard about the YouTube boxing scene. Floyd Mayweather is fighting Logan Paul, and Jake Paul is fighting Ben Askren, the UFC fighter.
Yeah, that video he put up was very.
Yeah. I like Logan Paul. I don't like Jake Paul at all. Mayweather this week has decided to piss everyone off by saying that when he's done with his exhibition match against Logan, he'll fight Jake Paul. And when he's done with Jake Paul, he'll fight 50 Cent in an exhibition match. Now, Jake Paul's come back and turned around and said, I'll fight you. It won't be an exhibition match, though. Well, it will. If it's going to be an exhibition match, because it's not going to be Floyd Mayweather is a retired 40-something-year-old boxer. Jake Paul is a bum off YouTube who has knocked out
YouTubers.
He's knocked out KSI's little brother
and
the Song Gibb
and a NBA
and a retired
dunk
NBA
contest
basketballer.
winner.
So he thinks, I've offered out Conor McGregor and everything, and Conor McGregor's just giggling at him. He thinks he's got a shot. At the end of the day, if Ben Askren doesn't plough his face into the ground, Floyd Mayweather will, the same way he's going to do it to Logan. I think we could touch on this another time because I have very strong opinions about these people. I'm quite a big boxing fan, and these, mate, it just annoys me so much. We've done good for time this week as well, Kurt. I think we're naturals. I think we're naturals at this stuff, Kurt. Podcasting.
I think so as well. And also, I would like to say, I don't even know how many people are going to get this far in, but you know, if you do get this far in, what's your opinions?
Yes.
On
the length of
the length and the frequency of it.
Yes.
Like, how often
would people want to see more than one a week?
Yeah,
because we could probably figure something out. If you would say it, we'll add another one in. Last week we said comment bananas if you get to the end of the podcast.
Oh, we did.
This week, what can we tell them to say, Kurt, if they get this far in?
We can say, I've got a good one.
What?
Pineapple.
What a brilliant, and it links perfectly. And Kurt, you're a genius. If you get this far into the podcast and you've got to the end, first off, thank you very much. Very loyal.
Yep, much appreciated. Yes. You know, at the end of
the
day,
comment pineapple on our YouTube, on our Instagram post.
Let us know. Yeah, if you can, try and leave a few comments on the YouTube video.
Yeah, it just helps
exposure.
Yes. It helps us get to more people that aren't following us and aren't our friends, and it could just spread it about and find some more people.
Once
who
you
might
got
want
a
to
few
listen to it.
comments, we're building up quite a nice amount of views. It just get a bit more recommended.
Yeah. So everyone, you do the usual for us. Like, follow, subscribe, share it about. If you enjoyed the podcast today and you listen this far, drop us a comment on YouTube and Instagram saying pineapples. I hope you enjoyed the second episode of this podcast. We very much enjoyed recording this episode. Yep. And we shall see you next week with episode 3.
Yes, we shall. So long. Goodbye. Well, I say goodbye. We'll be back.
We will be back.
Hopefully. Unless something terrible happens.
Yes.
Hopefully. But, I doubt that would happen.
Yes.
It might. You never know. It's 2021.
Yeah. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Hope you all have a good week. And we will speak to you again next week.
Yep. Till then.
Adios.
Adios, amigo.